They laughed when he fell to pick 144. But what if I told you the real story hasn't even started yet, and the Browns might already regret everything?
Shedeur Sanders will be the Browns' QB1 in 2026. And here's why. The first wave of free agency has come and gone, and the Browns made 0 moves at the quarterback position. They did not sign any of the top free agent quarterbacks, and those would be guys like Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, and Tua Tagovailoa. And just go look at the top end of quarterbacks right now still available in free agency. It's guys like Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. And then you get into the Joe Flacco, Tyrod Taylor, Jimmy Garoppolo, Zach Wilson, that kind of tier. And then you're maybe looking at Trey Lance, Hendon Hooker, Jeff Driscoll. Guys, there are no free agent quarterbacks coming here to displace Shedeur Sanders. Number 2, there's not a prospect in this draft class who the Browns could draft and he would be presumed ahead of Shedeur on the depth chart. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 to the Raiders. After that, this class does not have starting caliber quarterbacks in it. So Shedeur Sanders is safe as the QB1 in that regard. And then any trade that Andrew Berry could make for a quarterback would be a late round flyer at best, a la a guy like Anthony Richardson from the Colts. Even if the Browns traded for Richardson, there'd be no guarantee that he could come in here and beat out Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur would still have the leg up on a guy like Richardson. And finally, Deshaun Watson. I know everybody out there in the media wants to talk about this quarterback competition between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. Guys, come on. Deshaun Watson hasn't played consistently good football since 2020, and he hasn't consistently been on the field at any point over 4 seasons with the Browns. Lock it in. Shedeur Sanders is your week 1 starter, and the QB1 job is his to lose.
I co-sign that. I mean, I think Shedeur is doing all the right things on and off the field.
Oh, I'm about to say, that's what he is, though. See, the funny thing is, the narrative was he wasn't a pro, he's this and that and the third. And out of all the quarterbacks, he's the only one there.
Yeah.
And I've never been nowhere where the quarterback don't go to the voluntary workouts. Every quarterback always does that.
I was going to say this early in the offseason, though, is it not – because we see a lot of quarterbacks like leading their own workouts in separate areas, Russell Wilson and whatnot. Is it even a situation where Deshaun Watson is just absolutely like he's really being absent and he's really not present, or is it?
Picture this. It's NFL draft night. The whole country is watching. Cameras are rolling. Millions of fans are live streaming. And Shedeur Sanders, the son of a Hall of Famer, one of the most hyped quarterback prospects in years, is just sitting there, waiting. Pick 1, not him. Pick 10, not him. Pick 32, first round done, still not him. Day 2 comes, pick after pick after pick, still nothing. And then, while he's sitting there on live stream, his phone rings. He thinks it's a team. He thinks his moment has finally come. But it's a prank call. Someone pretending to be an NFL general manager, messing with him on the biggest night of his life. 143 players were called before Shedeur Sanders. But here's what nobody saw coming. That humiliation, that embarrassment, that moment the whole world felt sorry for him, it lit a fire inside him that is now scaring every single person inside the Cleveland Browns building. Hit that subscribe button because this story is just getting started.
The love language in football is all about the paper. It's not just about talent, it's about money. So to me, like Shedeur, regardless of how talented he is, and he still has to prove that he is talented, mind you, by the way. I think he had 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions last year, albeit it was just his rookie season. Deshaun Watson making so much money, and Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, he just came out and said Deshaun Watson might have a Sam Darnold type resurgence. So the Browns are looking for Deshaun Watson to be the starter. They're looking for Deshaun Watson to take him to a Super Bowl, which I don't foresee happening, but that's what they want to happen. Shedeur, he has to hope Deshaun Watson messes up.
Let's go back to where this all began. Because to understand where Shedeur Sanders is right now, you have to understand just how far he fell. Coming into the 2025 NFL Draft, Shedeur Sanders was considered a top quarterback prospect. Not maybe top, not borderline, top. The guy put up a 74% completion percentage in 2024, leading all of FBS. He threw for over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions, behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football. The analytics loved him. The film loved him. His accuracy was NFL ready. Every mock draft had him going round 1. Some had him going top 10. But then, something happened behind closed doors that changed everything. Anonymous NFL coaches started leaking things to the media. One longtime NFL assistant, hiding behind no name, no accountability, called Shedeur Sanders the worst interview he had ever been a part of in his entire career. Another AFC executive said Shedeur made him feel small. Words like entitled started floating around. And just like that, without one bad game, without one failed drug test, without one single incident, the narrative around Shedeur Sanders completely shifted, and teams started passing. Round 1, passed. Round 2, passed. Round 3, passed. Round 4, the Cleveland Browns, the same team that would eventually draft him, took a running back instead. Still passed on Shedeur. Round 5, pick 144, the Cleveland Browns finally called his name. The same kid who was supposed to be a franchise quarterback, the same kid whose father, Deshaun Sanders, is one of the greatest to ever play the game, taken in the 5th round. And while all of this was happening, while 31 other franchises were deciding he wasn't worth a high pick, Shedeur Sanders sat there calm, composed, and when he finally got that call from the Browns, he celebrated by jumping in a pool. Not angry, not bitter, just ready.
I think there's a very good chance of it. Right now, as the roster stands, I think it's clear there's a competition between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. And obviously Dillon Gabriel's on the team, but I think what was obvious is we saw Shedeur's ceiling showed higher than Dillon's. And so then you go 2 second years, I think Shedeur edges out Dillon in that conversation. And then you have Deshaun Watson, who wants to get back to the field from that Achilles injury, and you've got Todd Monken, who's that quarterback developer, player developer, but he wants to develop the quarterback, and that doesn't just mean a guy going into a second year in Shedeur Sanders. That means can he get the most out of Deshaun Watson? Can he fix those things that didn't go right with Deshaun when he was playing, when he was healthy, when he was with the Browns on the field? And I think that obviously is a conversation that is being had in the building. Now, the only thing that shakes up those percentages for me is who they bring in as a 4th quarterback, because there's going to be another quarterback in that room for camp one way or another. Whether they draft a guy or sign somebody in free agency or trade for somebody remains to be seen to me. But I think that player, to me, changes that percentage of Shedeur's likelihood to be the day one starter, because it could be different. It could it could rattle everything. But right now, as it stands, I think Todd Monken likes the game making ability that Shedeur Sanders has and wants to see more of that. And I think we saw some really good things from Shedeur talent-wise. And there's some things, obviously, to clean up that I think have been clearly identified and something that feels right down player developers' alley of making good reads and not pushing too hard and just being a little bit smarter with the ball, taking care of the ball a little bit more. I think that's exactly what somebody like Todd Monken is intending to do. And so if he can succeed in that, I think that my percentage shoots up even further. I think that it's 70, 80% if he can get that out of him. But it all does change depending on who they bring in to be another quarterback in that room.
Quarterback coaches, I think Quincy Avery. So he's probably training with him. What I think Shedeur is doing right before our eyes is there's so many decisions that Shedeur is making that's either a maturity decision or he just likes Todd Monken better than he liked Kevin Stefanski. Remember, during the season last year on Shedeur's off days, he was throwing at like a random park in Cleveland. Why are you not at the facility? You throwing at a park and it's on video. So to me, I think Shedeur is both more comfortable right now, and I also think he has a relationship with Todd Monken dating back to when Georgia recruited him out of high school, to when Todd Monken was with the Ravens and they tried to draft him, to Todd Monken being the head coach now. I think Shedeur is just maturing and realizing, okay.
Now fast forward to right now, 2026 offseason. And this is where things get really interesting. There are 4 quarterbacks competing for the starting job in Cleveland. You've got Deshaun Watson, the guy with a $230 million fully guaranteed contract, the guy the Browns mortgaged their entire future for. You've got Dillon Gabriel, the other rookie they drafted in round 3. You've got Kenny Pickett, and you've got Joe Flacco, the veteran backup. On paper, Deshaun Watson is QB1. The money says so, the contract says so. Owner Jimmy Haslam came out publicly and said he believes Watson can have a Sam Darnold-type resurgence. The Browns need Watson to work. They're staring at $86 million in dead money if they cut him. That's not a football decision anymore. That's a financial nightmare. But here's what's happening inside the facility, and this is the part that should make every Browns fan sit up straight. Deshaun Watson? Not showing up to voluntary workouts. Dylan Gabriel? Not showing up either. Shedeur Sanders? There every single day. Sources close to the Browns organization are now saying, and this is being talked about openly, that Shedeur Sanders is currently in the lead for the starting spot based on his presence, his preparation, and his relationship with new head coach Todd Monken. Let that sink in. The 5th-round pick, the guy 31 teams passed on, the guy anonymous coaches tried to bury before his career even started, he's showing up every single day, while the $230 million man is nowhere to be found. And it goes even deeper than just showing up. Shedeur already sent Coach Todd Monken a housewarming gift when he moved to Cleveland. That's not something a guy does when he's just going through the motions. That's a guy who understands relationship building. That's a guy who is earning his position one small move at a time. Think about it. Monken recruited Shedeur out of high school when he was at Georgia. Monken was with the Ravens when they tried to draft him, and now Monken is his head coach. That relationship didn't start in 2025. That trust has been building for years.
It's like you owe somebody. If you getting paid $69 or $69 million, I owe you $69 million. I want some out of that.
Please.
You got a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. And you
look incompetent if he doesn't do well. It's like you messed up.
Yeah, they can void it after this next season though. But yeah, it's
even if you void it, you still owe that fully guaranteed.
Yeah,
is fully guaranteed.
Yeah, so they still owe.
Now here's where the conversation gets real, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Can Shedeur Sanders take the starting job, or does Deshaun Watson have to lose it? Honestly, it's probably the second one. The money is real. $230 million fully guaranteed is not something an NFL owner just throws in the trash. Jimmy Haslam is a businessman, and in football, just like in real life, money talks louder than talent sometimes. If Watson is healthy when training camp opens, he will likely get the first shot. That's just the reality. But here's the thing, and this is what makes Shedeur's situation so fascinating. Watson has looked nowhere near his old self since coming back from injury. The ceiling that everyone keeps referencing, that top 3 quarterback in the NFL version of Deshaun Watson, that was years ago, before the injury, before everything. And getting back to that level at this stage against this competition, that's not a guarantee, that's a prayer. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders last season, in only 7 starts as a rookie, thrown into the fire with a broken offense and zero continuity, showed flashes, real flashes. His Week 14 game against the Titans, 364 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. That wasn't luck. That was a quarterback who knows how to play football. And the Browns know it. That's why there are now reports that the Browns coaching staff wants any candidate for a position job to at least believe that Shedeur Sanders will be a factor. Not a backup, a factor. The door isn't just cracked open for Shedeur Sanders, it's wide open. But let me tell you why this story is bigger than just a quarterback competition in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders represents something that goes beyond football. He represents every person who has ever been counted out, every person who has ever been talked about behind closed doors by people who don't even have the courage to put their name on their words. Every person who has ever been told, directly or indirectly, that they don't belong. Anonymous coaches called him the worst interview they've ever seen. He responded by showing up to voluntary workouts every single day when nobody made him. 31 teams passed on him. He responded by making the Pro Bowl in his first year, becoming the first Browns quarterback to make the Pro Bowl since Derek Anderson in 2007. They said he was entitled. He sent his head coach a housewarming gift and has been in that building grinding since day 1 of the offseason. And right now, as the 2026 season approaches, Shedeur Sanders is not asking for anything. He's not complaining, he's not tweeting, he's not doing interviews crying about the draft slide. He is working, quietly, consistently, purposefully. That's the kind of character that turns a fifth-round pick into a franchise quarterback. Look, nobody knows for certain what happens when the 2026 season kicks off. Watson might come back healthy and remind everyone why Cleveland gave him that contract. It's possible. Anything is possible in the NFL. But right now, in this moment, the most prepared quarterback in that building, the one showing up every day, building relationships, learning the playbook, earning the trust of his coaching staff, is Shedeur Sanders. And if you were one of those 31 teams that passed on him, you might want to start preparing your excuse now. Because this kid, he doesn't forget, and he doesn't quit. This changes everything. If this story hit different, drop a comment below, share this with somebody who needs to hear it, and hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be following this story all the way to opening day.